Under the pouring rain, a man quietly stepped out from behind bars after 7 years of imprisonment. That was Jake Green, a gambling prodigy once sentenced to prison due to the sophisticated conspiracy of Dorothy Machu, the gangster boss. Personally escorted by the warden, today was the day he was free. The moment Jake breathed the chilly air outside the bars, he finally understood that in every game, there is always a manipulator and one who is deceived. And this time, Jake would no longer be the victim. He began his journey of revenge against the one who had pushed his life into hell. Elsewhere, in the glamorous lights of a luxurious casino, the gambling mafia boss Dorothy Machu and his right-hand man, the cold-blooded Paul, were silently observing the air, tense as a stretched string, as guests came and went. At the same time, on the other side of the city, Jake and his group were preparing to set off. In the car, Billy, Jake's brother, constantly doubted whether their coming here this time was the right move. But Jake only replied that there were debts that needed to be settled. Jake's vague, suggestive words made everyone fall silent. Soon after, the car stopped in front of a familiar building, the biggest casino in the city. Without hesitation, the whole group stepped out. They didn't know that destiny had brought them back to confront their old enemy, Dorothy and his underlings. The casino staff quickly recognized Jake and immediately led him and his group to the top floor. When the elevator doors opened, Jake suddenly froze. A flicker of hesitation crossed his eyes, because in prison he had inadvertently developed a fear of confined spaces. But then, Jake suppressed his fear and decisively stepped inside. The elevator stopped at the top floor. However, the casino staff announced that only 2 people were allowed to proceed. Thus, only Jake and Billy advanced further inside. Not long after, Jake encountered an old acquaintance, someone he once considered whose turn was almost up in this game of life and death. The other person appeared astonished to see Jake still standing strong and having left solitary confinement. In prison, he asked Jake what he was here for, but Jake didn't answer. Instead, he proactively sat down in the empty seat the man had just vacated, then calmly faced Dorothy. Jake deliberately lost and appeared weak, making the man complacent. However, immediately after, Jake unexpectedly played Dorothy a trick, causing the boss to lose several $1 million in cash, making Dorothy extremely angry but unable to do anything to him. After that, Jake and Billy put the money in their bags and casually left. At this moment, a man approached and handed him a business card. He said that Jake was in danger and that he could help him. As Jake was wondering who he was, he decided to take the stairs down. But then, a sudden pain struck, causing Jake to collapse, his whole body hitting each step hard. Meanwhile, Dorothy was still seething with rage from Jake's public humiliation. He vented his anger on Paul, then immediately ordered a manhunt for Jake's group. To ensure no one acted conspicuously, the boss enlisted Sorter, a cold and discreet assassin. When Jake suddenly collapsed and was taken to the hospital after urgent blood tests, he was fortunate not to be in serious danger. Thanks to a quick recovery, Jake was soon discharged from the hospital and returned to prepare for the next game. After leaving the hospital, Jake returned home with 2 bodyguards, without Billy. He was completely unaware that someone was silently watching him. As he bent down to pick up a piece of paper in front of the door, a hail of bullets rained down from afar, causing the 2 bodyguards following him to fall due to the horrifying destructive power of a rifle. Just when death seemed imminent, at that very moment, the mysterious man who had appeared at the casino suddenly rushed forward, firing an AK and repelling the assassin to save Jake in the nick of time. The assassin was a sniper hired by the boss and Paul to finish Jake off. Upon receiving news of Sorter's failure, Paul immediately reported to his boss, enraging him to the extreme and making him unable to believe that a professional assassin could miss the target. After the failed assassination attempt, Jake was taken by the mysterious man to a bar, where he was introduced to Avi. This guy, a mysterious member of Zach's gang, revealed that he and Zach had secretly obtained Jake's health check results and informed him that he only had 3 days to live due to a dangerous blood cancer attacking his entire body. While Jake silently observed the medical records, Avi said they would help him fulfill his last wish before he kicked the bucket, but nothing was free. And if he wanted more help, he had to accept their 2 conditions. 1. Hand over all the money he had just won at the casino, and 2. Absolutely obey all of Zach's or Avi's orders without question. Finding these 2 to be con artists, he stood up and left. But it was true that sometimes Jake felt his body was strange. After thinking, Jake immediately went to the hospital to verify the truth. Here, the doctor confirmed he had a rare blood disease. He didn't believe it and suspected the doctor was colluding with Avi and Zach's gang to deceive him. Jake flew into a rage, pulled out a gun, pointed it straight at the doctor, and questioned him. However, the doctor denied everything. In the end, Jake suppressed his anger and lowered the gun, but his heart was still filled with suspicion and the fear of imminent death. In the afternoon, Jake returned to meet Avi and Zach, bringing a large bag of money as requested by the two. In return, they agreed to help him take revenge on the boss Dorothy and his underlings. Avi took the money and immediately sealed this sweet deal with Jake. Zach gave him a car key, then the whole group set off to meet a debtor. It turned out, Avi and Zach were also loan sharks. These two scoundrels used Jake's own money to lend to others at cutthroat prices. At the meeting point, Jake had to personally hand the bag of money to the debtor along with a warning about the terrible interest rate. After completing his first assignment in his new role, Jake quietly followed them back. Now he officially became Zach and Avi's underling, from a seasoned player to a debt collector for these two. Avi said to just be patient, and they would deal with old Dorothy for him. On the way back, Avi and Zach curiously asked Jake about Dorothy's identity and the connection between them. Jake coldly revealed that he was a cunning mafia gambling boss, with brutal and loyal underlings. He once dominated casinos with rigged gambling games. Even seasoned gamblers, one by one, fell before him. Initially, Jake refused to participate, but after Mach's underlings threatened Billy and his daughter, Jake was forced to accept the dangerous invitation. When the game took place, Jake quickly defeated his opponent, George. However, after the defeat, George insulted his mother, causing Jake to lose control and shoot him straight in the leg in a fit of extreme rage. But immediately after, all the betting money mysteriously disappeared. Jake was blamed and became a scapegoat, forced to accept a 7-year prison sentence in solitary confinement. The tragedy didn't stop there as Dorothy's underlings continued to threaten his relatives and caused the wife of Jake's cousin to be brutally murdered. At this point, he gradually realized that everything was part of the cruel conspiracy that